So backwards planning has been around for a long time. It isn't new, it's kind of a new phrase.
Backwards planning is really important because it helps us not be surprised at the end when we are assessing the kids and seeing what they know.
When we know where the kids need to end, then it's easier to know how to get to that point.
Where do our students need to go and how am I going to get them there?
Not necessarily you're honing in on the specific daily lesson, you're honing in on the overall picture.
Always cycling back to what do they need to become better at, what do we need to do better.
By backwards planning, we know, teachers know better where they're headed, so we can help kind of funnel where they're at, because they come in at so many different places. Even though everybody's backward planning, people are individuals, students are people. So they come in from different places and we're trying to help them achieve a goal.
Before we place them into RTI groups, are we going to have them take the numbers and operations interim?
Just get some data.
So maybe just put that on there.
This year we started with looking at the assessment first, which I thought was very beneficial because it made us understand where misconceptions would be for the kids.
We focus in on the misconceptions that students might have on assessments or lessons.
Looking for success criteria. What do the kids need to know in order to be able to do this problem, whether that even be a prerequisite skill from a previous grade level. So identifying what they need to know in order to master this skill.
Then we knew what we really needed to emphasize, working our way towards the end of the module.
And then we match where it is in the curriculum, because sometimes they seem to hide it a little bit, or at least it seems that way to teachers, so we assume that feels that way a little bit to students sometimes.
It's very valuable because everybody looks at a question differently, and what may be a misconception to me may not be a misconception to somebody else, and so we have those aha moments, or if I miss something, then one of them will not miss something.
It would be a crime to wait until the assessment to find that out. So if we don't feel that fire, I think we are doing a huge disservice.
And we want to teach to the test. That's not a bad thing. I want my pilot in my plane to have been taught to fly.
Once you have figured out what those tricky concepts are going to be, then coming up with a team product is like 2 heads are better than 1, 3 are better than 2.
What about adding, taking the operations and algebraic thinking for a pretest, since that will be a standard that's assessed on the end of module assessment?
Backward planning at times can feel overwhelming because you do have this big project that you're trying to work through. But as long as we're keeping the students in the forefront of our minds and we're taking a student-centered approach, I think that makes it more obtainable for us.
We are thinking about every kid in that classroom and working together to think, what can we do better for this student? What ideas do you have? What could I do better that you're doing well?
It allows me to know who I need in my small groups and who to pull, who to work extra time with, who to challenge, who to give extra work to.
Every year you get different students.
They come with different needs and different expectations, and we have different dynamics, and so you have to backward plan somewhat every year. It's not a once and you're done thing.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you're adjusting to the specific students in your classroom.
After the unit of instruction, that you look at that and say, well, how did my kids do? And can I pull a small group of instruction based on my results?
To say, hey, this part of this lesson went really well. Remember this for next year, or hey, this part really did not go well. Here's what I would do differently next time.
So we want to make sure that we've given the kids those tools so that they're successful.
Because the kids, when they know what the expectation is, they can rise to it.
Getting to know your kids does, of course, always help. And building those relationships with them is super important, but just also being very reflective on, is this working, is this not working?
After every lesson, reflect. Reflect, reflect, reflect. What went well, what didn't, and how can you improve it?
So I think that's something we need to really focus on, especially since we get to decimals, and that the and means a decimal.
Yeah.
So it should be 203, not 200.
Right. I see the process of backwards planning as a defining time where we get to sit with the great minds of our team.
For me, the value has been the collaboration.
As a group, it's just not my 4th graders, it's our 4th graders.
It's a motivator. I mean, knowing that we're all on the same page, seeing successes and everything else, we get along really well.
These ladies are not just my coworkers, they're also some of my best friends.
We all meet for our PLC time, our professional learning communities, the same day each week in the library all together. And so then we can reference each other's grade levels if you need to talk to the grade level ahead of you or below you.
Everybody's involved in it together, so it feels definitely like this is our work, and it builds a sense of community.
The most effective PLCs meet all the time, and it doesn't have to be a formalized sit-down agenda type meeting. It could be a 5 to 10 minute conversation or passing in the hallway.
I enjoy hearing what other people are doing. It kind of strengthens my teaching when another teacher can say, here's how I'm addressing that.
New teammates coming in who've maybe never taught at that grade level, they are being supported, and it gives you a chance to all share ideas.
The more I taught and the longer I've been in Bethel School District, and now that I'm a team leader, I see immense power in PLCs.
Professionally, I feel like I grow through them and working with them and watching them teach and how they interact with their kids. It helps me grow as a teacher also.
Education is a profession that if you try to do it all by yourself, it's very, very challenging. And when you're able to share those ideas with others, that's what makes student learning powerful, is incorporating multiple perspectives of the same content from other educators.
For morning work right now, we have application problem from lesson 1 for morning work.
Yeah.
So we already have it.
I have seen greater growth in students this year and last year than I have seen in the past with backwards planning.
Every year I see kids able to do just a little bit more by the time I get to the end of the school year. So that tells me that this hard work and this backward planning and this going over the data and looking at how can we adjust our teaching is paying off.
Without that backwards planning as a team, there's no way I feel we would have been able to be as successful.
And making sure that we're pushing each other and the children to, the highest expectation we can get them to.
As long as the students are the forefront of our mind throughout the whole process, I think we'll be successful.